Are your players longing to bring more interesting and unique animal companions and familiars to your Castles and Crusades games? Honestly, why should wizards have all the fun? Should you be adding the Adventurer's Companion from Troll Lord Games to your CNC library in order to bring these unique creatures to life? Well, you're going to find out because I'll be sharing my review right after this. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Today, I'll be sharing my review of Castles and Crusades Adventurer's Companion from Troll Lord Games. This is written by Jeremy Farkas with artwork provided by Peter Bradley. The 82-page softcover is available now, carries an MSRP of $14.99. If you want to bundle it with the PDF, you can do so for $19.99. And if you just want to score the PDF alone, you can do that for $9.99. Having said all that, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got the Adventurer's Companion for Castles and Crusades. I want to mention a couple of things before we get stuck in. First of all, my friends over at Troll Lord Games were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this review with you. It's important you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page of this softcover, but I do want to give you a good feel of what you're going to find inside. First thing we'll do is take a peek at the credits page. So let's give credit where credit is due. As I mentioned, the Adventurer's Companion focuses on animal companions and familiars. For the most part, most of the page space is devoted to familiars, and every single class gets some options as far as familiars. So we're going to start off with some information about companions versus familiars. And I do want to point out that this is a revised edition of the Adventurer's Companion. I'll be honest, I'm not sure what's changed because I've never seen the previous edition, but this is supposed to be a redesigned Adventurer's Companion. So we're going to start off with animal companions, information about how to go about acquiring one, training one, caring for them. There's information about grooming and so forth. And then we're going to jump on into our stat blocks, and we've got quite a lot of them. So these stat blocks are a little bit different than what you'll find in the Monsters and Treasure book. Now, some of these are brand new, so they're not in Monsters and Treasure, but some of these are also found in that book. So you're supposed to use these stat blocks because they have been redesigned a little bit as opposed to what you're going to find in the MNT book. So we're going to go through these various different stat blocks, and then we are going to jump on into the portion of the book devoted to familiars. So we're going to get a discussion of familiars, the forms they will take, and the abilities they might imbibe upon the player character. Then we're going to jump on into each class, and each class is going to have specific information about how they go about finding a familiar, how they bind the familiar to them, and the abilities that that familiar may provide them with. And like I said, every single class gets this sort of information. So we've got the bard, the knights, we have the assassin, clerics. Any class can now have a familiar. Any class can have an animal companion. So keep that in mind. As far as production quality, nice, thick paper stock here. We've got the Peter Bradley artwork throughout. And this is a soft cover. It should hold up fairly well. It's nicely put together. So I have to point out, I landed on the knight here. The knight's familiars are crazy. They can have a drake mount. They can have a bear. So I will say that the familiars aren't necessarily balanced for each and every class, but there are some really cool familiars that the various different classes can acquire. Paladin gets a familiar, and so forth. Like I said, the majority of the page space is devoted to the section about familiars. So that is a peek inside Castles and Crusades Adventurer's Companion. Let's swing on over to the other camera so I can share some final thought as well as my review score. So, is the Adventurer's Companion for Castles and Crusades a must own? Well, it's going to depend on your group, because if you and your players are not chomping at the bit to have animal companions or make sure that each and every class has a variety of familiars available to them, then this probably isn't really on your radar. Although it is filled with some really interesting information and some very useful stat blocks. So we've got loads and loads of animals. We've got some animals that did not appear in Monsters and Treasure. And then, of course, some of the stat blocks are adjusted a little bit over the M&T book. And of course, we also have every single class having a variety of familiars available to them. Some of them are pretty wild and pretty cool. But once again, if you're not really interested in the animal companions and familiars outside of magic users, well, your mileage is certainly going to vary. But I will say the Adventurer's Companion does exactly what it says on the tin. It is a book about animal companions and familiars for every single class. I found it pretty interesting. Like I said, your mileage is probably going to vary. So on a scale of 0 to 10, I give Castles and Crusades Adventurer's Companion a 7 out of 10. All right, that is it for this time out. If you enjoy the Gaming Gang and you feel that the outlet is a valuable resource, got a few ways you can help support the outlet. You can find all that information down in the show notes. In fact, you'll find out how you can make a one-time donation by way of PayPal and become a monthly member of our Patreon. Also down in the show notes, you're going to find an invite link to our Discord server. Absolutely free to sign up. So be sure to hang with the gang over on Discord. Of course, if you enjoy the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. And if you ring the bell, select all notifications, because that way you'll not only find out when I share videos such as this review, you'll also be informed when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central, as I bring you the latest in tabletop role-playing game news and more. Of course, when you're not watching videos here on the channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are never going to see here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and until I see you next time, certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.